This is a short introduction into LGControl. LGControl is based on the protocol OSC, which stands for Open Sound Control. OSC is used to communicate between computers, musical instruments, and other devices via a local network. LGControl can not only be used to control one or more Lasergraph DSP, but can also control any device that supports the OSC protocol. To install LGControl on your PC or Mac, download the installer from our website, open the installer or disk image, and follow the instructions. Before you start working with LGControl, check the I/O setup of your Lasergraph DSPs. To do this, open the setup of the Lasergraph DSP, select Net I/O, and click the OSC tab. You need to know or respectively change the prefix of your OSC path and the UDP port number of your Lasergraph DSP, and of course, you have to enable OSC. We suggest to leave the prefix empty and the UDP port number at 8000. Make sure that all functions and parameters you want to use are enabled. Now, start LGControl. The main window will open where you can define the basic settings. Start with checking the out port number. It must correspond to the port number entered in the I/O setup of the Lasergraph DSP. Change the IP address to the address of your Lasergraph DSP or use the limited or directed broadcast address if you intend to reach all devices in your network or subnet. Finish the changes by pressing the Connect button. Create a new control group by clicking onto a button in the New Controls area. By clicking a control with the right mouse button, you open a context menu where you can change the settings of the entire control group or edit this individual control. In the Edit window, you can change the label, color, and background of the control and edit each OSC path and value for this control. The default fader control sends a value from 0 to 1 to the OSC path /fader/1, which corresponds to the path settings in the Lasergraph DSP. The destination defines how the values are sent. Default uses the IP address we entered in the main window. This fader will now control the Lasergraph DSP with the IP address 192.168.3.110. To reach all devices in the network, change the destination to limited or directed broadcast. Fader 1 will only change the fader value of the Lasergraph DSP with the IP 110, while Fader 2 will control all Fader 2 in the network. The Buttons control creates buttons that can be used to send commands and values to one or more Lasergraph DSP. A button can trigger a MIDI key or send a command, for example to toggle the test pattern on and off. There are more controls available: pedals, XYs, sine waves or flickers. Each control has a different output and can be used for different purposes. Beside the separate controls, there is a window control available that can be used to gather controls in one window or even in separate tabs. Create a window control and add controls inside the window by clicking with the right mouse into the window. You can position the controls in the layout mode and add more tabs if needed. To control several Lasergraph DSPs independently of each other, create corresponding groups in the Group setup. Create a new group by clicking onto the plus button and name the group. Then click onto the plus button in the Devices tab and add a Lasergraph DSP. A Lasergraph DSP can be a member of several groups. In the destination parameter inside the controls, you can now choose the group you want to address by this control. Fader 1 controls Group A and Fader 2 controls Group B. You can link controls with each other. To do this, select the destination local for the control you want to use to trigger the other controls and enter a user-definable name in the OSC output field. Enter this name in the OSC trigger parameter of the controls you want to trigger by the other control. An example for an implementation can be found in the installer directory of LGControl.